Fire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now, it's real time.
Welcome back, everyone. We're joined by Austin Moser. Austin is the owner of Austin's Northwest Adventures, and each year we get a chance to check with him, find out how this triploid trout, these monster trout, these some people would say Frankenstein trout are all about. But first things first, man, wow, it's beautiful in your office, Austin.
Oh yeah, we are super excited to get back out here and start fishing. Today's my actual first guided day back. We take a couple months off here and do some hunting and just, decompress from the whole year of fishing that we do. We fish a ton, and it's nice to get that time off. So excited to be back in the boat. Went out pre-fished yesterday, and man, we caught a 17-pound trout yesterday. It was amazing.
Yes,
so happy
that,
to be back.
That big one was 17 pounds. Now, Ryan, if you have that, let's take a look at it. Oh, there you go, everyone. I believe that's the one that he has there. Look at it's just a giant football with a head on it, man. I mean, these fish. Well, first off, let me hold up. It's been too long, Austin, since we've talked. How was your hunting season? What you call your decompression time? How did that go for you? Were you successful, or did you have good hunts? How did that go for you?
Yeah, I ended up, I went on an elk hunt. There were some injuries in our camp, and guys, we ended up quitting that hunt early. There wasn't a lot of elk in that area, but I'd bought a house, and I had to move for the month of October. It was it was a chore, and it's all done now. We moved up to closer to where I'm fishing, and I got a really cool shop and all the good stuff. So. But I did go out and chase some deer around with my bow and arrow. I chased some massive, trophy bucks, and, closing that distance can be very tough with other hunters around and things like that. But I ended up getting a doe, getting some meat for the freezer, last day of the hunt type of thing. And it worked out. It was fun. So,
well, that's good. I had to ask, man, because that's how my season kind of went. It was good. Obviously, it's great to be out there chasing some animals around with a stick and string, or anyway, quite honestly, but at least you had some success. All right, so tell everybody where you are and what fish you're actually targeting this morning.
Yeah, so we're on the Upper Columbia and in Central Washington, and we're targeting these triploid trout. They're a triploided trout, and they're all hatchery fish. We do catch some red band fish mixed in, but these fish are very coveted for eating. They're super good eating. They're high in oil, fat content. They compare to a spring Chinook. They really do. And if you haven't eaten them, you guys need to come and try these fish. They are awesome, and they're fun to catch. We're catching them on light tackle. I happened to have a 12-pound one we caught this morning just before the show started, and I can show that to you guys.
Yeah. Let's take a look at it, man. Everybody wants to see a fresh fish that actually just got caught this morning. Now, when he says 12 pounds, everyone, 12-pounder is not a monster for, jeez, man. I just said it's not a monster, but yes, it is. It's just a giant football with a little tiny head on it. Now,
they got little tails.
How are they getting so darn big? What's their food source over there that they get so big on?
So there's some net pens in the area where in this area, and they travel back and forth to kind of around those net pens, and there's a lot of food that comes in to the system around there, and so they're able to eat that food, and also. They're a triploided fish, so they don't have the urge to spawn. They've been genetically altered when they're in the egg to have 3 chromosomes, and then they don't spawn. So their whole life is all about feeding, eating, not breeding, getting bigger, and just doing their thing. That's all they do. So
it's such an impressive fish. Now, I know that we've had a chance to talk to you about it before, and I know that there's a lot of people who are like, well, okay, so Central Washington, upper part of the Columbia, I can just run out there and go catch these giant triploids. It's not that easy, everyone. You really have to understand what you're doing. What's your preferred way of actually targeting them? Is there a technique or a style, a way that you target them that you prefer over another, or is there just a numerous array of ways to target them over there?
It just depends on what you want to do. You could catch and release here if you're using no bait, if you're using no bait type of no scent, those kind of things. So there is some smaller fish in the system, But if you use bait, you have to kill the first 2 fish that you catch. The limit's 2.
Gotcha.
And if you use bait, then you got to kill the first 2 fish, or you can get in trouble for releasing them. So we tend to use, I got a little jig. We'll cast some jigs, maxi jigs, things like that, from Yakima bait, 3/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce. And we're just pitching those and twitching them back, similar to not like a twitching jig like you would for coho, more of a slower action, but similar. And then you can catch them all ways that you catch trout. Guys are doing power bait off the bottom. Guys are trolling plugs, trolling spinners, things like that. You can do bobber and jig, bobber and shrimp, bobber and, whatever baits you want to use. Some people just come here to catch fish. They don't care, and they're going to get their 2 fish and be done. So it's a dynamic fishery when it comes to that. You can really play with it and dial it in.
So now you had mentioned that if you use bait or use scent, that's considered bait, so that you would have to retain those fish. You can't release them. If you chose to fish them like what you're referring to, twitching a jig back or maybe spinners or whatever the heck it is, you can then catch and release. Is that pretty popular? I mean, are there folks that will come out with you or maybe on their own that'll go out there just to try to upgrade to get to some of these bigger fish, or is it, or what do you normally see there?
Yeah, generally we're trying for those big fish. Everybody wants those trophy-sized fish. They're better eating than the real small ones. So that's what people are going for. And sometimes we just take what we can get if that's what we're seeing, or guys will hold out until the end of the day looking for a big one, and they might not end up taking home a whole limit of fish if they keep releasing them. So it's just it's preference, basically, what the guys want to do. But generally, yeah, we're catch and release and looking for trophies.
Is it hard to get to where you are, Austin? The zone, not where you are right now, but at least the part of the world that you're in.
Yeah, it's not hard to get here. If you call me, I can set you guys up. I have guys all the time that come with me and fish for a day, and then they have a boat with them, and then they go out and do their thing. There's a huge learning curve when it comes to a new fishery, and I always promote that you can go with a guide and it'll cut your learning curve in half, and not necessarily go with me. Go with any guide. I want all the guides to have business and to be successful, and it helps if you can get out with a guide just to learn a few things, because they're on the water every day and you're not. So those little nuances that you're going to learn with a guide are really going to help you.
I would say that it's going to much more advance your learning curve, much more than half, by the way, especially if you had a chance to get out with Austin. That's what we're going to recommend you do if you get a chance to get out there. But it's a beautiful part of the world that a lot of you may not have seen. Now, there's a whole bunch of you that are watching from the east side of Oregon, east side of Washington right now. This is a fishery that's in your backyard. And for those that live over where I do, sometimes it's worth making that drive through the gorge, as long as the gorge will let you make that drive, because it can get a bit interesting. All right, now, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the area that you're in, kind of what you're doing to have your success, and maybe if there's other options for maybe different fisheries while yourself or others are over there. Is that okay?
That sounds fine.
All right, everyone stick with us. We got Austin Moser from Austin's Northwest Adventures. They're chasing triploid trout right now. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll get one on while we're talking to them. We'll be back with that and more in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive new Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.